There's a kind of heartbreak no one talks about, the kind that happens while you're still wearing your wedding ring, still sharing dinner, still sleeping inches apart. This is a letter I've never sent, a confession whispered into the dark. Not because I don't love him, but because I do. And somehow that's what makes the silence louder. If you've ever laid in bed beside someone you love and still felt alone, this is for you. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're not the only one whispering words in your head that never get said out loud. This is the letter I wrote to the man sleeping beside me. You're lying beside me right now. Your breathing is slow and steady. One arm resting across your chest, the other flopped over the edge of the blanket like you always do. The room is dark, quiet, familiar. I can hear the old wall clock ticking in the hallway. 1, 2, 3, measured, reassuring, ordinary. And yet, tonight, something feels different. Or maybe I do. I don't know when the shift happened. Not exactly. There was no argument, no slammed door, no betrayal, just a slow quieting between us, like fog rolling in under the door while we weren't looking. I used to fall asleep wrapped in your warmth, your breath on the back of my neck, your arm curled around my waist holding me like I mattered even when the world felt too loud. Now we sleep like bookends, close enough to see each other, far enough not to touch. I don't know what this letter is or who it's for. Maybe it's not even a letter. Maybe it's just a voice I need to find again, mine. Maybe I'm writing this just to remember what it's like to say something that doesn't start with, "What's for dinner?" or "Did you pay the electric bill?" Maybe I'm whispering this into the quiet so I don't forget I still have something to say. You're here. I'm here. And yet there's this ache. Not loud, not dramatic. Just there. Like the hum of a fridge at night. Constant. Easy to ignore until one day you can't anymore. I think I miss being missed. I think I miss being seen, not just looked at, not just walked past in the kitchen in our well-worn routines, but really fully seen. Like you used to in those early years when we were still trying to figure each other out. When everything about me seemed to fascinate you. When you asked questions not because you needed answers, but because you wanted to stay close to who I was. Back then, your gaze lingered. Now your eyes glance. It's not cruel. It's not even intentional. It's just life. The life we built. The life that got so full of everything else that we forgot to leave space for us. I don't blame you. I'm not angry. I'm not even sure I'm sad, not in the usual way. It's more like hollow. A soft emptiness that no one can see but me. And maybe you, if you ever turned around and looked long enough. You shift in your sleep. A small sigh escapes your lips. I wonder what you're dreaming about. I wonder if I'm in it. We used to talk about our dreams, on long car rides, in cheap diners with chipped mugs of coffee. You'd say I want a house with windows that face the morning sun. I'd say I want to write a book one day, and we'd smile like it was all possible. And it was, I think, back then everything felt possible. Now we talk about taxes, schedules, groceries. Who's going to pick up the dry cleaning? It's not that I want those early days back. I know time doesn't work like that. I know love matures, softens, changes. But I didn't know that love could also become so quiet that you forget what it once sounded like. I lie here listening to the rise and fall of your chest. I try to match my breathing to yours like I used to when I couldn't sleep. It's comforting, familiar, like muscle memory. My body remembers things even when my heart forgets. I think about reaching out, just sliding my hand over to touch yours, just to see if it would spark anything. But something holds me back. Not fear, not pride, just doubt. Doubt that you'd notice. Doubt that it would mean anything to you. Doubt that we're still fluent in the language of each other's touch. We used to be. Remember, I do. I remember the way your hands would find mine under the table at dinner parties. The way you'd wink at me from across the room like we shared a secret no one else could hear. The way your voice softened when you said my name. You haven't said my name in a long time. Not the way you used to. Not the way that made it feel like something precious. Now it's functional. A call from down the hallway, a reminder to move my car, an alert that the plumber's coming at 3. I wonder when we became colleagues in a shared domestic operation. I wonder when our marriage became a schedule with teeth brushing and phone scrolling and separate scrolling side by side. I wonder if you wonder about this too when I'm not looking. I wonder if you miss me. Not the me who reminds you about your mom's birthday, or the one who makes sure the fridge is stocked, or the one who folds your favorite t-shirt just the way you like it. But the me who used to laugh too loud, who cried at songs on the radio, who whispered ideas in the dark like they were fireflies in a jar. The one you once said you couldn't live without. That me is still here, a little quieter now, a little more tired, but still here. She's lying next to you writing letters in her mind while the world sleeps, hoping someone might hear her, even if it's only herself, even if it's never spoken out loud, even if it's just a letter that never gets sent. She's still here. Do you remember her? The woman I was before we built this quiet, careful life? The one you used to call late at night, just to hear her voice, even when you had nothing to say. She used to dance in the kitchen while cooking badly off beat, always barefoot. She used to read poetry out loud, pausing at every line like it mattered. She cried at movies and sometimes in traffic and laughed so hard she'd snort and then cover her face embarrassed. And you'd say it was adorable, that I was adorable. That girl, that woman, she's the one you used to look at like she was a mystery worth solving. She's the one who used to catch you staring across the room and pretend she didn't notice, even though her heart would pound every time. She's the one you used to wait for outside her door, nervous smiling, holding her favorite coffee like it was an offering. And I used to rush into your arms like I belonged there, like the world made sense when your hands were on my waist. We didn't have much then. Remember just secondhand furniture and cheap dates and two dreams stitched together with optimism and rent payments? We made love like it was urgent. We fought like it meant something. We apologized like we meant it. Back then, we didn't know how to be anything other than honest, messy, curious, real. Do you remember how you once said I reminded you of spring? That being with me made you feel like everything could begin again? You used to memorize my laugh, my quirks, my fears. You'd kiss the inside of my wrist like it was sacred. You once stayed up all night to comfort me after a nightmare, whispering that you'd never let anything hurt me. You used to see me. You really truly saw me. And I used to feel so seen that I glowed. Not from makeup or compliments, but from being reflected back by someone who loved every version of me. Where did she go? Not in blame, not in bitterness. But honestly, where did she go? Because I don't dance in the kitchen anymore, not even when no one's watching. I don't read poetry aloud. I read grocery lists, work emails, reminder texts. My laugh. It's softer now, tighter, guarded. I don't think I've really cried in front of you in years. Not because I haven't needed to, but because somewhere along the way, I convinced myself that strong meant silent. And maybe deep down, I believed you loved the quiet version of me better. But you used to say I made you feel alive. Now we mostly feel tired. And I understand. Life got heavy. The weight of responsibility pressed down like slow rain. The house, the bills, the job that drains you, the kids' school schedule, the sick parents, the broken dishwasher, the 500 quiet obligations no one ever thanks us for. We were surviving, not thriving. I get it. But in the process of surviving, we started disappearing, piece by piece, choice by choice, day by day. And the hard part is no one tells you it's happening. It's not dramatic. There's no flashing red light to warn you that your connection is fading. No narrator saying this is the moment you start drifting apart. It just happens. The morning coffee becomes quiet. The kisses become routine. The I love yous become mechanical. The silence between words stretches just a little longer. And before you know it, you've gone a week without touching, a month without talking about anything real, a year without asking what the other is dreaming about. I used to know what you were dreaming about. You used to ask me what kept me awake at night. Now we both roll over and scroll our phones, the blue glow lighting our faces like moons we no longer orbit. And yet I don't think love disappeared. Not really. It just got buried, under responsibility, under distraction, under exhaustion, under years of choosing function over feeling. But if I peel back all the noise, if I strip away the roles, the obligations, the busyness, we're still here. Aren't we the same two people who once sat in a car on a rainy night talking about our future like it was some kind of magic spell we could cast if we just believed hard enough? I think about that night a lot. We were parked outside your apartment, Fog on the windows, your hand on mine warm shore. You said we'll make it even if it's hard. You and me. I'll always choose you. And I believed you. I still want to believe you. Even now, all these years later, as I lie here beside you in the quiet dark, I want to believe that beneath the distance, beneath the routine, beneath the years of unspoken words, you would still choose me. If you saw me, if you remembered, if you looked, I would still choose you. But not like this. Not like strangers who wear wedding rings. Not like business partners running a household. Not like two people who know how to survive together, but not how to feel together. No, I want to be the woman you see again. Not for nostalgia, not for some dramatic reunion, but because I miss being seen not as your wife or the mother of your children or the person who reminds you about your appointments, but as the girl in the kitchen who danced barefoot and laughed too loud and cried when she loved too much. She's still here. She's writing this letter. And she wants to come back, not to the past, but to us, if there's still an us to return to. I wonder if you notice it too, the space between us. Not the kind measured in inches on a mattress, but the kind you feel in your chest, like a pause that's gone on too long. It's quiet now, quieter than it should be between two people who once couldn't stop talking, who once fell asleep mid-conversation, still holding hands, still whispering, just one more thing before we sleep. Now our words come in headlines. Short functional, a morning reminder, a quick update, a question shouted down the hall. Did you walk the dog? What time is the dentist appointment? Can you grab milk on the way home? There are so many words, but none that touch skin, none that open the heart, none that say, I see you, I miss you, I remember you. Sometimes I try. I sit across from you at the table and think, just say something, anything. Ask him how he's feeling, ask him what he's carrying, ask if he's okay. But the words get stuck behind my teeth, wrapped in fear that you won't notice I'm trying. Or worse, that you'll notice and not know how to answer. Because that's how far we've drifted, isn't it? So far that even honesty feels foreign, like a language we haven't spoken in years. I catch myself scanning your face sometimes when you're reading or watching TV or scrolling your phone. I look for signs of fatigue, of frustration, of anything that might crack the silence. But you seem okay, comfortable even. And maybe that's what scares me most, because I'm not. I'm not okay in this quiet. I'm not okay with the way our days bleed into one another, predictable and polite, but hollow. I'm not okay with the way your hand rests on the steering wheel instead of reaching for mine. I'm not okay with the silence that settles in the spaces where our laughter used to live. And I wonder, did I stop trying first? Or did you? Or did we both slowly let go at the same time, too gently to notice until we were too far to reach? I remember a time when I could read your silence, when I knew the difference between you're tired and you're troubled, when a sigh meant something specific, when a glance told a story, when your body against mine wasn't just routine, it was comfort, reassurance, connection. Now I don't know what your silences mean anymore. I don't know if they're full of stress or emptiness or maybe nothing at all. And the worst part is, I'm afraid to ask. Afraid to find out that the answer is nothing. That there's simply nothing left you feel like sharing. That the version of you I once knew has retreated behind quiet walls, and maybe he likes it there. I think that's the kind of grief no one prepares you for. Not the loud heartbreak of betrayal or anger, but the slow, silent erosion of intimacy. The realization that someone can be inches from you, breathing the same air, wearing the same ring, and still feel unreachable. You turn the lights off without looking over. You climb into bed with a sigh and a stretch, and a final scroll of your phone. And I lie there wondering if you miss me. The real me. The me you used to reach for even in your sleep. The me you used to kiss on the forehead just because. The me who used to feel like home to you. Sometimes I think about asking you to talk. Really talk. Not about bills. Not about errands. Not about what's broken around the house. But about us. About how you're feeling. About whether you feel the ache too. But what if you say no? What if you look at me puzzled and say, everything's fine? What if fine is all we've become? And what if fine is just another word for numb? There's a loneliness in marriage that no one tells you about. Not in the early years when you're wrapped up in touch and urgency and wonder. Not when you're building a life together, rushing through chaos with laughter and tears and noise, but later, when the routines settle, when the surprises fade, when you know each other's stories so well that you stop asking questions. That's when the quiet creeps in. And sometimes I catch myself whispering things in my head that I'll never say out loud because they feel too tender, too raw, too late. I miss you even though you're right here. I want you to want me again. I don't need fireworks. I just need to know you still feel the spark. Please, look at me like you used to. Touch me like you remember who I am. Talk to me like I matter beyond the roles we play. I wonder what you'd say if you knew the letters I write in my mind at night. If you knew how much I notice, how much I ache, how much I want to reach across this space, not to accuse, not to argue, but just to feel again. Because I don't want a dramatic fix. I don't want grand gestures or elaborate promises. I want your hand to find mine unprompted. I want your voice to ask me something real, even if it's clumsy. I want your eyes to linger, just a second longer, just enough to let me know you still see me. Because the distance between us now, it isn't just emotional, it's spiritual, invisible, silent. And yet I believe it's crossable. I have to believe that. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be writing this. I wouldn't be lying here next to you hoping for something small to change. A look, a word, a question. I wouldn't still be waiting, still choosing you, still whispering things you can't hear, hoping someday you might. This isn't the end of love. It's the part where it forgets how to speak. And I'm still here trying to remember the language, even if I have to speak it alone for now. Some nights I lie so still, I wonder if I've become invisible, not just to you, but to myself. I go through the motions. I move through our home like clockwork. I fold the laundry, wipe the counters, answer the emails, plan the meals. I refill the coffee. I organize the drawer we always forget about. I check the calendar and move the dentist appointment because you double booked again. I do all of it. But do you see me? Do you really honestly see me? Because I'm still here. Not just the version of me who shows up for everyone. Not just the competent woman who holds things together with quiet strength and a steady smile. But the woman beneath the layers. The one who feels too much and tries too hard and still wants to be wanted. Somewhere along the way, I started hiding that part of me. The soft part. The part that asked for things. The part that needed. I used to reach for your hand because I wanted to feel close. Now I don't, because I don't know if you'll take it. I used to tell you when I felt small or afraid. Now I don't, because I don't know if you'll hear it. I used to show you all the messy, unfiltered, tangled pieces of me. Now I keep them tucked away, neatly folded, out of sight. Because somewhere along the way, I began to believe you preferred it that way. And maybe that's unfair. Maybe you're just tired, distracted, human, like me. Maybe you've forgotten too that underneath all the obligations, we are still two people who used to know each other's hearts. But I'm still here. Still hoping? Still listening for the sound of your voice when it softens. Still watching for the moments when you almost reach for me, then don't. Still waiting for some flicker of the old warmth to return. Not because I expect things to be the same. They can't be. And maybe they shouldn't. We've been through too much now. We've weathered storms. We've buried dreams and made peace with new ones. We've grown in ways that changed us. But love isn't about going back. It's about coming back. It's about finding each other again in the space between who we were and who we've become. And I want to come back to you. Not to the beginning, but to this moment. Because even here in this quiet distance, I still love you. And yes, I know how that sounds. I know love isn't supposed to hurt. I know it's not supposed to feel lonely. I know people say things like, if he wanted to, he would. But they don't see us. They don't see the way you still change the light bulbs in the hallway without being asked. The way you leave the last pancake for me on Sunday mornings, even when I pretend I'm not hungry. The way you always check to make sure the doors are locked before we sleep. You still love me in your way. I know that. But your way feels far away now. And mine has gone quiet. Careful, fragile. I want to speak it again, but not into a void. I want you to answer. Not with grand words or promises, but with presence, with attention, with one honest sentence that says, I feel it too. Because I've spent so long wondering if this ache is mine alone. If you still think about us when you look across the room and see me curled on the couch with my book and my tea. If you wonder where the spark went. If you feel the silence pressing in some nights. If you miss me, or if you even realize I'm missing. I'm not saying we're broken. I'm saying we're quiet. And I can live in quiet if it's shared. But this loneliness that lives inside the togetherness, it's the part I don't know how to carry anymore. I don't want to walk through this life beside you and feel like I'm walking alone. And I don't want to feel guilty for needing more. More connection, more attention, more feeling. Not material things. Not flowers or date nights or Instagram-worthy gestures. Just a look, a touch, a question that lingers longer than necessary. A pause that says, I want to know you again. I don't want to be one of those couples who just coexist until the house is empty and the children are grown and there's nothing left to distract us from the silence. I want more than that. Because I remember what we were capable of. I remember the way you once memorized my favorite songs, not because you liked them, but because they mattered to me. I remember how you used to fight to understand me even when I didn't have the right words. You once told me that being with me felt like coming home. I want to know if you still feel that way. I want to know if you ever look at me and wonder if I've changed, or if you've just stopped looking. Because here I am, still loving you, still rooting for us quietly in the dark as the house sleeps around us, still believing that even now, even here, this could still be the middle of something good instead of the slow fading toward an end. But I can't do it alone. I can't keep pretending this doesn't hurt. I can't keep hiding what I feel because I'm afraid it will make you uncomfortable. Because loving someone isn't about sparing them the truth. It's about inviting them into it. So here it is then, the truth. I miss you, I miss us. And I don't want to miss us in silence anymore. I'm still here. And I'm asking, are you? If you ever find this letter, I don't know what I hope you'll feel first. Surprise, maybe, or confusion. Or maybe nothing at all, just a passing glance at a few lines that feel too gentle to be urgent. Maybe you'll wonder why I never said any of it out loud. Maybe you'll ask yourself when I began writing to you silently instead of speaking to you face to face. And the truth is, I don't know exactly when that shift happened either. It wasn't a choice. Not really. It was a slow turning inward. A quiet folding of myself into smaller shapes, into versions that fit neatly around your rhythms, your silences, your comfort zones. Until one day, I wasn't speaking to you with my voice anymore. I was speaking in sighs, in the way I paused before answering, in the way I turned off the light a little earlier each night, in the way I lay beside you with words caught in my throat, waiting for the right moment that never seemed to come. So if you're reading this, hearing this, if somehow these words ever reach you, I want you to know something first. I never stopped loving you. Even when I stopped feeling loved, even when the warmth faded, even when the conversations shrank and the laughter grew scarce, even then love remained. It just changed shapes. It hid in the dinner I made without being asked, in the way I memorized your calendar, even when mine was falling apart, in the way I asked about your mother's health, in the way I stayed. That was love too. But love without language begins to ache, and that ache, the one I've been carrying quietly, it's why this letter was born. Because I needed to remember that I have a voice, because I needed to say out loud what I thought no one would want to hear, because I needed to hear myself say it, even if you never do. But if you do, if these words ever find you, I hope you'll read them slowly, not with guilt, not with shame, but with curiosity. Because I'm not trying to blame you. I'm trying to reach you. I'm trying to open a door that's been locked between us, not with anger, but with honesty, with longing, with the courage it takes to say I miss us. Not just the version of us that flirted in coffee shops and held hands in movie theaters, but the deeper version, the one that knew how to touch without asking, the one that found each other's pain before it was spoken, the one that didn't just share a life but a heartbeat. That version of us still lives inside me, even now. And I believe I have to believe that it still lives somewhere in you too. Maybe it's just been buried beneath the weight of years, of responsibilities, of the 1,000 tiny disappointments we never named, of all the swallowed words and brushed aside feelings and the long quiet drift that neither of us meant to happen. We didn't mean to forget how to love each other loudly. We just got tired. distracted, busy surviving. But now I want more than survival. I want aliveness. I want presence. I want real conversations again, the kind that meander, the kind that stretch long into the night, the kind that hold space for awkward pauses and unfinished thoughts and raw truths. I want to be surprised by you again. I want to learn you all over this older, quieter, wiser you. I want to let you learn me again too if you're willing to look. Because underneath the woman you see every day, the one who handles things and holds it together and rarely complains, there's still a flicker. A spark that hasn't gone out. I still feel her. The woman who danced barefoot and stayed up too late and whispered secrets into your shoulder. She still lives here somewhere behind my ribs waiting. And maybe you feel your younger self too. The one who looked at me like I was everything. The one who memorized the sound of my laugh. The one who used to reach across the space between us just to remind me we were in it together. If that part of you still lives inside you even a little, I want to find him. Not to rewind time, but to reawaken us. To remember that love is not a possession, it's a practice. And maybe we've been out of practice. Maybe we forgot how to hold each other without fixing how to speak, without filtering how to touch, without fear of rejection. But we can learn again, if you want to, if you're willing. If you read these words and something in you says, yes, I've felt this too. I've missed us too. Then say it. Please say it. Don't leave me to carry this alone anymore. Because if there's even a sliver of desire in you to try again, I'm here. I've been here all along, waiting quietly, hoping gently, loving fiercely even in the silence. And if this letter never reaches you, if it stays locked in the corners of my heart or buried beneath the to-do lists and the polite small talk, then let it be a reminder to me that I had the courage to feel, that I didn't numb it out, that I didn't go silent forever, that I tried. And maybe in the trying I'll find a way back to myself. Because no matter what happens next, I need to live in a truth that doesn't apologize for wanting more than routine. I want warmth. I want depth. I want us, or I want the truth about whether us is still alive. So if you ever find this letter, know that it wasn't written in anger. It was written in love. The quiet kind, the steady kind, the kind that survives the silence, but still hopes with everything it has left for the sound of your voice on the other side of the dark, saying, I see you, I hear you, I'm still here too, and maybe, just maybe, let's begin again. If any part of this letter echoed something inside you, I hope you know you're not alone in your silence. You're not wrong for feeling more. You're not selfish for wanting to be seen, even in the middle of a life you've built with love. Thank you for listening to this quiet story, for sitting in this space with me. If it touched you even a little, I'd be honored to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment, share your own letter, or just say hello. And if you'd like to hear more voices like this, more confessions, reflections, and stories we're often too afraid to tell, please subscribe. This channel is a place for women who feel deeply loved quietly and are finally ready to speak. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You're still here, and that matters more than you know.